don't really want to go back to the US, but where do we go? My family has sort of a unique lifestyle, 9-month trips around the world with our 3 kids. I teach English online and my husband is a graphic designer. We would travel around the world with 2 suitcases. We learned that traveling lighter is much better. Our first winter here, it was like 3 weeks of rain. There is beauty in every place and there's also hardship in every place. Like, I really don't think this perfect place exists.
Got me upside down, spinning around you.
Have you ever thought about what it would be like to pack up your whole family and move abroad? Well, today our guest has done that exact same thing with her whole family. We're going to be talking about what it's like for her to live in Portugal, what it was like for the move, what is healthcare like, schooling. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty and tell you what it would be like for you and your family if you decided to make that move abroad. All right, Camille, welcome. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Cool. All right, so let's go right into it. Let's take me back to the beginning. What was it like life for you in the U.S. with you and your family? And what kind of triggered it to say, you know what, we want to move abroad?
Wow, that's a loaded question. So my family has sort of a unique lifestyle, being that we've taken long 9-month trips around the world with our 3 kids. So we would live nomadically. I teach English online, learn English with Camille, and my husband is a graphic designer. And then we have some Airbnb properties that we would Airbnb while traveling. So that was how we could support that lifestyle. And it gets tiring. I mean, our kids have been to, I guess, 20 countries now with us.
Wow.
So they are 7, 9, and 12. And we were at the end kind of our last nomadic trip when we were like, we don't really want to go back to the US, but where do we go? And so we haven't really lived a long life in the US, just like very short stints here and there. I think COVID was the longest, of about 1.5 years. And like our first son was born in Barcelona. So we've kind of lived in a life of nomads for a while, even before kids were in the picture.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh my goodness. So they kind of grew up with this, just traveling. So it wasn't kind of a shock to them when you said, hey, we're thinking about moving to Portugal.
Yeah, I think they were getting to the point too where they would do anything. But we were the ones like that were like, we're kind of tired of making decisions, because having a nomadic life, you have to make so many decisions. Where do we go next? Do we need a visa? What is the culture like? How is the safety? What's the money? What's the language? I mean, there's just so many things to take into consideration. And then every time you switch countries, it's those things like all again, trying to like figure it out. And so though it is an amazing, beautiful way to live and you learn and grow so much, it does wear on you over time. At least it always would on us, because we would always set out with a one-way ticket. And then it was always around 9 months when we're like, okay, we're tired.
Definitely. And then living out of a suitcase, that has to be kind of hard.
Yeah, I'm pretty minimalist, and I learned how to be even more minimalist. And so we would travel around the world with 2 suitcases. And we're content creators, so that was including our camera and our stuff like that too. And so 2 suitcases, 3 kids. We learned that traveling lighter is much better. So like we just went to Italy last month and we took 1 suitcase for our family of 5 for 2 weeks. So it's really possible to travel light and you feel better having less stuff.
Okay, you have to tell us, like, what do you pack for 5 people in
Yep.
1 suitcase? How do you do it?
I know. Basically, our clothes, the biggest things. And then the kids have a backpack each.
Okay.
So they can put like a book, a tablet, a stuffed animal. They always want to take snacks as well. And really, it's just our necessities, our toothbrush, toothpaste, face wash, like just simple stuff in our suitcase. And then we can always buy stuff. And when we travel to different seasons, we have to sometimes leave stuff behind and like buy new stuff.
Okay.
So I think this is trying to wear outfits that you can mix and match a lot.
Definitely. Oh,
Yeah.
that is good. It would be harder for a lot of people, but that is good. You have it down to a science, so I love that. So let's talk about
Yeah.
Portugal. What made you guys to decide on Portugal?
So, like I mentioned, we were tired. And I remember we were sitting in this hot Barcelona apartment with no AC. This was 2023. We had been traveling around at this point for 8 months. We had gone to many countries, including 3 months in Turkey. And I was learning Turkish at the time. My husband took classes too in Turkish with me. And we were like, where do we go? And we're people of faith, so we pray, we love the Lord, and we were just praying and just like, God, please lead us. We don't even know where to go. Where's the best place for us? And we wrote a list of countries, potential countries that were like interesting to us. And Portugal was up there on the list, partly because you could apply in country at the time for for residency. And so then we were like, let's just try it. Time was running up, like running out on our 90-day European stamp. We had been in France and then we had been in Spain, and we're like, we're only going to have a few weeks in Portugal. So we rented an Airbnb, and within the first 2 weeks, we're like, I think we could do it here. Like, I think we could do life here. I think we could put down some roots here. We really loved the area, super green, super beautiful. And so we're like, kind of like, let's just go for it. And so we were very confused though with how to get the residency, like all the paperwork and things like that. And so we found a lawyer on Google who ended up being amazing. And so they processed all of our paperwork, and it was actually a year and a half until we finally got our residency card. So it took a while.
Oh, wow.
We did travel back to the States during that time. I think it was maybe for summer or Christmas. I can't remember, but we did take one trip back. Technically, they don't like you to travel while your visa is like, I don't know what they even call it, while you're waiting, the waiting period, which can be hard because Portugal is not that big. You know, you can drive top to bottom in 6 hours. So we were thankful to be able to go back to visit family in the States. And our kids still don't have residency. We're just now submitting the paperwork because of them being born, one of them in Spain. We had to do an apostolized thing. You know, bureaucratical things, they're one of the hardest things about living, I think, in any country.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a slow, long process. And so we're just now getting our kids residency, like 3 years. We're 3 years in almost.
Wow,
So it's crazy.
that's surprising because you would think that once you have residency, that the kids would automatically have residency as well, along with you. So that's different.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to apply. You
Wow.
have to apply for the kids as well.
So do you apply for yourself first and then the kids next, or so you don't apply all at one time?
Exactly. That's what our lawyer said. They're like, you guys apply, you're the important people. And then once you're established, then you can just get your kids residency, because there are benefits to your kids having residency, which includes like a family doctor. Like, it's kind of, today I had to schedule an appointment for my son, and because we don't have a family doctor, you have to go through some steps. I could tell you a long thing that happened. I won't, but it's just not as cut and dry. So the family doctor is the thing we're looking forward to the most. And then technically they're like legal here as well.
Wow.
So, and like traveling and things like that, we've never gotten anything. They always travel with us. We say, here's our residency. They're like, where is your kid's residency? And then we just say, it's in process. It's in process. And so that's been okay.
Oh, okay. And they're okay with that, right?
As of now.
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
Wow. So did you have to
Yeah.
have residency before you could, well, not before you could, but I guess when you went to go rent an apartment or a house, did you have to show paperwork to show that you were in the process of getting your residency?
Yeah, so we were really lucky because the Airbnb we had booked, they let us use their address. And so even though we were there for a very short time, we were able to give that. And within we had so like much favor with finding a house, because the house we're in now was not on the market yet. It was a house that was a rental house on booking.com. And so it was shown to us through a connection through our lawyers to a real estate. We were the second people to look at the house. And then we were like, yeah, we want this house. And so we've been here since it's 2.5 years in this house, I think, a little more.
Wow.
Hmm.
And get into the house. Like, how did you decide on which location? Because I know most people, when they think about Portugal, they're like, oh, Lisbon, the Algarve. How did you decide on Northern Portugal?
Yeah, honestly, it's so crazy, but like because we had flown into Porto, our tiredness played a lot into it. We're like, we don't have the energy to go explore all these other cities. And the house was so beautiful. Actually, it's like a four-bedroom with, I can see the ocean right now. We can see the river. It's a beautiful house. It has a garden. It's right in the city center, so we can walk to our kids' school. We can walk everywhere, like, which we do. We walk so much here in Portugal. So it was more of like we like the house. We're kind of tired. Let's just start here. And then if we want to go later somewhere, we can. But let's just like start here. And for the first 9 months, like I did not want to go anywhere. Like, so happy to just be staying in this house.
Like, you know what? I just want to sleep. I want to relax for a minute and enjoy
Yeah.
this house.
Yeah.
And that's amazing
Yeah.
that you found a four-bedroom house because I know that's really rare, right?
I know. It is rare. It really is rare. And this house has been such a gift. And it's not cheap. I mean, maybe compared to American standards, but it's 1,600 euros a month. So in comparison to like the Algarve or Lisbon, it's a very good price.
Okay.
But for up here, it's still kind of more on the expensive side, especially considering the salary of the Portuguese is like 820 euro or something like that.
Gotcha.
So
Wow.
1,600 euros. It's like double somebody's salary. So it's still expensive. And to us, having to pay, we earn in dollars. So to us, it's getting there closer to $2,000 a month. So there's definitely a price to it as well.
But you're paying for the location as well, and then the convenience of being able to walk to so many different places
Yeah.
and not have a
Yeah,
car,
totally.
right?
Yeah, exactly. We do have a car, but we don't use it every day for
Okay.
sure. Like every sunny day for sure we're walking. Viana gets a lot of rain in the winter months. And sometimes even like I think it's going to be raining for the next several days. And so when it's really rainy and the combination of wind, it's not fun to be walking around. It's you see broken umbrellas. Like we started a photo collection of broken umbrellas because you see them everywhere.
Oh
It
gosh.
almost doesn't even pay. Yeah. That if you're gonna ask me, I don't know if you want to get into it, but that is like the hardest thing of living in Portugal is the weather in the winter especially.
Really? Tell us about that. How is it from where you guys are coming from? What's the adjustment like of the weather?
Yeah, so we've always lived in pretty sunny places. South Carolina, we lived in Hawaii, we lived in Barcelona, we lived in Mexico. So I didn't realize how affected I was by weather until I moved here to Viana do Castelo.
Wow.
So our first year here, which this is a good tip for anyone that's looking to move, like move in like the worst season or visit in the worst season. Try to spend a week or two because we were here in August 31st we landed. So we saw this in September, which the weather's still epic in September. It's like perfect, beautiful. And so we did not know, we were not prepared. In October, our first winter here, it was like 3 weeks of rain. And we didn't have like a dehumidifier. We didn't have a dryer for our clothes. So I remember like bringing our clothes outside and then I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's raining again. And then like bring them in and then be like, the sun's out and then bring them out. And then no, it's like, I told my husband, we need a dryer. I know they're not common here, but we need a dryer. And it's in our living room
Oh
because
gosh.
there's not like a spot, but I don't even care. It's a lifesaver to have a dryer. We have 2 dehumidifiers running like nonstop and emptying out water from both of them nonstop. So mold will grow on things quickly here. It's just very wet. Like things started rusting in our garage, like our bikes and things like that. So we weren't really prepared for the wetness of it and what that would entail, even like leading into some health problems for our kids. Like we didn't know that they would get sick every winter with this like 2 to 3 month cough. And we're like, what is wrong with our children? And it turns out it's environmental.
Wow.
It's from being in like very humid, wet cold environment. This house is like 100 years old. And so it doesn't have proper ventilation. It doesn't have like AC or heat. And so that living in that space, it does affect your body over time. Not everybody's. Like I feel pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
but my kids like have, younger immune system. And so they're a lot more affected. And that is the hardest part about living in this area that we live in.
Oh my goodness, that's good to know because we always think about with our boys and Jason, they both have asthma. And I'm like, oh, so I'm always worrying about where we go, what is
Yeah.
it going to be like, and are they going to be okay? So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have never known. Like, I would have never known because my kids haven't had that kind of struggle before. We did asthma testing, we did allergy testing like this last year. And the doctor, he told us, like, he's like, there's a joke, but they say even the dogs cough in Vienna. Like, so we know he told us, like, if you were to move south of Lisbon, your kids, I'm sure their coughing and their symptoms would just improve. Like, you wouldn't have to deal with that.
Oh,
And so I think there's something just in the north. I don't know. I don't hear that many people talking about it. People talk about the mold and people talk about the crazy rain and the wind, but it really can affect people, especially that have more sensitive like systems. I probably wouldn't recommend for you to live here if your kids struggle with asthma. I really don't think I would.
yeah.
Like we're looking at moving to a drier place now. We're currently in that like we think we need to transition because of our kids' health because we don't want to keep spending every winter with them sick for 3 months. It's just not a great way to live.
Oh
So,
man. Yeah, I mean that's
yeah.
because we love that area. Like we love Porto, we love all that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
but it's good to know because
I would say newer construction too. Like, I think if you had newer construction, and Porto does get a little less rain than Vienna, right
hmm
where we are. And if you have, I think it's a south side facing house where you do get more sunshine. I do think that would help a lot. I really do. Like, it's not like guaranteed that your kids are going to suffer, you know?
yeah. And I
Mhm.
love it that you said I think that people should really go during the off season or a time when they're not, just to really see, can I live here? And even maybe spend a couple of weeks because I think that so many
Yeah.
people see like videos and YouTube and TikTok and it's like all beautiful and sitting out at a cafe and it's like, but that might not
Yeah.
be real life every single day for you. So,
Yeah, exactly. I think if I've learned anything from moving around the world so much, it's that there is beauty in every place and there's also hardship in every place. Like, I really don't think this perfect place exists. Is there one place that your family would thrive more than another? Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. But I think you're going to come across things that you don't like, things that are difficult, things about the culture that you don't understand or that are frustrating to you because that's just how it is, like we grow up with one mindset in the United States, and that's all we have. But then when we get out into the world and we see, oh, they do things this way, I don't know why, but this is how they do it, they get results. Our worldview really does grow. And if you are open and not trying to rush through life, if you're just patient, I think that will also help you a lot here in Portugal and in many cultures
yes.
around the world.
Definitely packing
Yeah.
that patience with you and just waiting on, like you said, waiting on God's timing to tell you like where you should go, which is the next direction for
Yeah.
you. I think that's so important. That's where we're kind of at in our life
Yeah.
right now. Just like, God, lead us where you want us to go. Like, what's next for the
Yeah.
point. So
That's,
I'm excited about
that's
that.
so good. That's like the prayer on our heart too. Like
Yes,
God lead us to
always.
the place
Like,
that you go to.
exactly. Like, Lord, where can we go and what do you want us to do? All right. So let's see. Can you describe a typical day for you and your family? Like, what is a typical day going out in the morning time and then coming home in the evening time? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah. So our kids are both, or all three of them are in a private school. They're all the private schools up here are Catholic.
Okay.
And so that's just how they are, but they're very good schools. Like our kids like them and some of the teachers speak some English, some of them don't, but all of the classes are in Portuguese. So we were really like scared because we threw our kids into these schools and we're like, sorry, you don't know any Portuguese, but you're going to school.
Yeah.
We did it with the heart of them wanting to learn Portuguese because we're like, we're here in Portugal. you have to learn Portuguese. Like I Portuguese, my husband speaks. We knew it before coming here, which also helped with our decision in transitioning. And though a lot of people here speak English or even basic English, your experience is so much richer if you know the language. So our kids, we put them not the first year. The first year I was like, we can get babysitters coming just speaking Portuguese. We can send them just two times a week class in Portuguese, but it just wasn't enough. Like they were not learning Portuguese that way. We would try to speak to them and they didn't receive well from us. So that is what helped us to be like, it's time to transition into school. So they're in their second year. They're about to finish their second year of Portuguese school, and the level of growth is amazing.
Wow.
It wasn't like what people said, oh, in 6 months they'll just be fluent. No, like our kids are still in a process and in a journey, and Portuguese is hard. It's a hard language. And so I'm just so proud of them for going, and they have friends and they're showing up. I'm like, you guys are doing it. So a typical day for them is school from 9 to almost 5 for our 12-year-old, and then 9 to 4:15 for our other two. So I'll walk my kids. We rotate. So one morning my husband will, the next I will. We have to leave the house at about 8:40, and then we drop them off at two different schools, but they're close to each other. And I'm a morning person, so usually I'm up by like 6:30. I always have my morning coffee. The kids get up early too. We always have some quiet time of prayer, breakfast, packing lunches, all of that stuff. And then we're out the door. And once we drop them off, if I hadn't squeezed in a workout before, I'll do that because I love exercise and that's so important. Today, I climbed the stairs in our city. There's like 660 stairs up to, it's called Santa Luzia Santuario. It's just a huge sanctuary, and it has a view of the whole city. And so it's a great workout. I did that. And this morning, we helped some friends. They're doing a new project here. They're Portuguese, and my husband can film and stuff. So he filmed them, and then we went out to lunch with them. And I literally got back 5 minutes before our interview today. So, and then after I'll have about an hour. So I teach English online, but I'm a content creator. So I teach on the social media platforms, and then I write books and have courses and things like that. So I'll be working doing that sort of thing. My husband's a graphic designer. We're both working from home. Usually every day we eat lunch together while the kids are out. And then we pick them up. So at 4 I have to leave to pick up my little two, and then our oldest son actually usually walks home alone. So he could even walk to school alone, but since it's on the path, we go with him because he gets out closer to 5. So it's amazing that he can walk home alone, and he's been doing that since I think 5th grade, he's in 6th now. So since last year, he's been walking home alone from school, and it's super safe here in our city and in Portugal. And that is something I wouldn't do in the US either, is let my younger son or my 12-year-old walk alone, from school. So yeah, different here in Portugal.
That's so crazy because I know, well, with education, since we're talking about that, for us, I know that's our biggest expense. Like when we're thinking about moving abroad, so many people are like, oh, you could just homeschool your kids. You're an educator, just homeschool them, they'll be fine. But I also know that we have two different types of kids. Like one, Carter, who would be okay with being homeschooled and staying at home, and Chase, who's our social butterfly, who loves school. So I know for you guys, you said you started out homeschooling with them. Now, did you kind of in your mind say, we're just going to homeschool, and that's the path we're going to take? Or did you kind of say, we'll homeschool and then eventually you will put them in private school? Like, how did that work for you guys?
Yeah, I think we wanted to see, could they learn Portuguese without going to school? Because that was a priority to us. And when we saw that it wasn't going to happen, and we just felt like this isn't enough, it's not going to happen. That's when we were like, we have to put them in school. So our oldest son, I think he would be fine homeschooling, and he asked to homeschool, because it's way less time. But here in Portugal, if we decided to do that, it's legal, but he has to take the yearly exams in Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
So I think if he did continue homeschooling and we're living here, we would have him do most of his schooling in Portuguese just to keep up with Portuguese. And he's like, I'm willing, I can do it. And I think he could do it. But at the same time, we're like, oh, we love that you're like meeting people in school and you have friends now. And so in our minds, we're like, for now, it's working like this. Maybe we'll homeschool them again in the future. But again, it's like bureaucratical stuff to take them out of school. You have to present your apostillized diploma. You have to have your child take the yearly tests. You have to have the certain curriculum met. So it's a lot easier to homeschool from the United States, at least South Carolina. I mean, you register with a homeschool association and then you kind of just do your thing. You can document some to show you're doing it. You get your 180 days of school, and that's kind of it. So I was like, oh, if we were to homeschool them, I'd rather it be when we're like out of the Portuguese system, back in the American system, just for ease of it.
Wow. Now, do you find that it was easy for them to transition, like as far as what they learned from homeschool or the US to what they're learning now? Was it easy for them? I know everything is in Portuguese, but as far as
Yeah.
academics and how they learned in the US versus how they learned there.
So I think our middle child, the 9-year-old, she probably had the hardest time because it was also at the time where she hadn't fully grasped reading super well in English, and then she's going into Portuguese, and all of a sudden she's having to read and do all of that. So it was more of a clash for her. Our older son, he seemed to fit right in. I don't know. He's like, Mom, like I am getting better grades than some of the kids here, and I'm like not even understanding Portuguese. So that was crazy. And then our youngest joined in kindergarten. So he kind of, that was his first school experience, and it was hard those first weeks because he did not want to go. Everything was in Portuguese. I remember him throwing a tantrum like the second day, crying the first day so much when I picked him up. And that was like heartbreaking
Yeah.
as a mom, being like, oh no, am I doing the wrong thing, But this year he's like, Mom, I really like first grade. And he has this little group of friends, and he has like soccer that he plays. And so I think he's like right on par. Like we just had parent teacher conferences, and she's like, your son like sounds Portuguese. I don't hear an accent when he speaks. And I'm like, oh my
Oh,
gosh, I'll always have an accent.
oh my
So
gosh.
it's very rewarding. Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know definitely the younger they start, it's so much easier for them to pick up the language. So that is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Now,
Yeah.
what made you
Yeah.
guys decide between the Portuguese private school instead of going to public education?
Because at first we were like, how do we even get in the school system? And it was a hassle. It took 4 months of like the paperwork stuff, getting apostolized things from the US. Again, it's just so not easy to do the in and out of school. But once we got them in, we found out that they were going to be going to 3 different schools. And we're like, no, that is like so much. And then at the last minute, the private school called and said, hey, actually, we have room for like both of your kids. And we had heard that the private schools here are better. We didn't know, we just heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to take that opportunity. And our other son was in the public school system in 5th grade. And he didn't like hate it, but we knew it wasn't as good of a school. Like he'd be like, the teachers yell a lot. Like it's just, and he was confused too because he didn't know any Portuguese. Then this last year, 6th grade, we pulled him out in the middle of the school year because the school went under construction. They were having school in containers, and it was just chaotic. And our son, like, he already has some like allergy sensitivity and like all of the, what is it called? Construction dust in the air. And then they're in these little containers. And I remember he was like, it hails here a lot because of the weather being crazy. And I remember he's like, Mom, I had to like go kayaking in the hail like in January. And I was like, that is not okay. Like there were just things that so like harsh in the public school. And so we literally wrongly, we did it wrong, but we were like, we went to the private school. Is there a space for our son? Can he come? And they were like, yes, he can. And so we just took him out and started sending him. And it took 6 weeks to be legally finalized. So we technically weren't supposed to do that. And I was told that, but it worked out and we did it. And he was able to go there, and he likes it so much better. He's like, they're so much nicer. Like they don't yell like at the other school. The kids actually are listening here. So it just seems like the value of education and the value for the child is more. I think people are underpaid here. The teachers work so hard underpaid. At his old school, there'd be so many strikes. I think 7 strikes the last year he went, which means the teachers strike and then the kids don't have
Oh,
school
wow.
because they want more money, the teachers. So my son would like that because he didn't have school. But they never had that at the private schools. They've never had a strike. So overall, in my experience, I only have one public school experience, but I would be like, send your kids, if possible, to a private school. Or I've heard that really small towns, like aldeas, like really small villages, have better schools because
Mm.
there's fewer students and they're more caring. So I would either look for a small town or try to find a private school. And this private school that our kids go to is, I think, 3,200 euro. So it's, yeah, it's not that expensive per
Mm.
year per
Oh,
child.
wow. That's not
You know,
bad at all.
no, it's not. And our older son, it's like 5,000 for the year. So it's a
Wow.
little more expensive when they get older, but it is more affordable. I don't know if it's because of the city we live in, but compared to what I've heard, like in Lisbon and even Porto, it feels like it's less than those places.
Wow. Yes, definitely because we've been looking at different schools and that's it's like 4 or 5, 6 times that price. Like that's crazy.
Oh
Wow.
no.
Yeah, because that's like I said, that's been our biggest thing is like school, and trying to, make sure our budget can, we don't want to get there and just have all these high hopes and then get there and like, oh wait, what about school? And then
I know.
make them suffer
I
through. We
know.
want them to learn Portuguese. We want them to learn the language and
Yeah.
feel like, this
Yeah.
is home. So
Yes,
wow.
exactly. Exactly.
Now, how many schools did
Yeah.
you guys look at before you decided on the school that they're in now?
There is only like one
Oh,
private one that we know of in the whole city. So that was it, basically.
oh, that was
Yeah.
easy. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, do they have to take an
Exactly.
exam in order to get into that school or no?
They didn't make them take
Oh,
an exam.
okay.
So they kind of like, and especially because our youngest was joining in kindergarten, so they don't have them. And yeah, they just transition them right in. And they do have to take exams, but they still have to help. I know my daughter with translating, like helping her to make sure she understands everything when she takes the exams. Because, yeah,
Mm,
these kids have to take exams like I think 3 times a year,
okay.
like, their math, their Portuguese, their whatever, science. I don't know. I don't even know what they all are, but they have to take those exams to make sure they're on par. I am not a fan of tests, so I tell my children, as long as you just make it to the next grade, you have fun and you're learning Portuguese, that is like all that I'm worried about right now. Like the language. I'm like, you guys are
Yes.
so young.
Mm-hmm.
Like my daughter will stress because her school has homework and 3 times a week. And last night was a homework day and she was like, Mom, like I have 8 pages. And I'm like, yeah, we're not doing 8 pages. It's way too much. Like usually it's not that much, but they can be a little rigorous with sending homework. And I'm like, you're 9, like I don't want you crying about homework. No, this is not okay. So there's like grace at the school for her. I don't know how it is with all the kids, but I've told her teacher many times, like my daughter gets home from school after 7 hours. She's very like tired. I don't want her sitting there for 2 more hours. I'm like, we'll try our best to do 1 or 2 pages. And he's totally like, yeah, yeah, that's totally fine. So I'm like, yes, it should be fine because
Yeah.
it's too much. I don't like homework at all for kids. I don't think kids should have homework at all. I think it should be banned.
No, I am so with you. I'm an educator and it wasn't until I had my own children that I realized I hate homework because I realized as
Yeah.
a mom, I'm like, you don't get to enjoy being with your kids. And so, and I didn't realize that, like I said, until I had kids and I would give homework before having kids, I would give homework and I couldn't understand when parents would say, or the kids would come and like, oh, I had soccer. And I'm like, okay, well, that's your job is to do your homework. But then after kids, I was like, you know what? You do have a life and it's important for you to enjoy being a kid and having fun and going outside. So I totally am with you on that. Yeah.
And that's like the one draw to homeschooling. Like, I feel like my kids are really creative. And when they were homeschooling, they had so much time and limited screen time. And they would just be like creating these like cars out of cardboard, or they would just be doing so many cool things at home that now they're not doing it as much because they get home from school. They're tired. If it's sunny, though, they're out on our trampoline, they're outside in our little yard and they're playing just So good. I'm like, kids just need to play after school. Like, let them
Yes.
play.
Enjoy life because you only get to be one young one time and you should enjoy it just a little bit.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
I'm going to have to ask this for my son Carter. You said they go to school from 9 until 5. What does that day
The
look
12
like?
year.
Wow. And Carter's 12,
Yeah.
so he would.
My son on Fridays he gets out at 12:50. So it's 9 to 12:50. So
Okay.
Fridays he loves Fridays. So you mean like what subjects does he have?
Yeah,
What
how
does
does
he
that
do?
day go? So, how many hours? But they do have a longer lunch break, correct?
Yeah. They
Okay.
have like an over an hour lunch break, and then their breaks, I believe, are like 15 to 20-minute breaks in between their classes. And he has, the normal classes like math and English, and he has Portuguese. They call it now materna. So it's for students that it's not their mother language. So he gets help with that. He has sailing this
Oh,
year. So he's
fun.
learning how to sail. And yesterday was the first day where he was literally in a little sailboat with another student out in the ocean.
Oh, gosh.
Like, yeah. Yeah. So that's fun. And then he has science class and history, I think. Yeah, he has like the normal classes that you would expect. And it's all in the same classroom, I believe. Like they stay in the same classroom, but he has different teachers that will come into that classroom. In his public school, he would have to switch classrooms and carry his backpack around, and that thing is so heavy. Like
Okay.
their backpacks so heavy, like if you have to carry it all day. So he'd always be like, "Oh, I'm so tired, Mom. My backpack, my back."
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. But the day just goes by. He has his long lunch break, like I said, and then we'll walk home. We try to pick him up 2 days a week because he has an extra gym bag that he's like,
Mm.
"Can you just come pick me up and help me carry it?" And so Mondays and Wednesdays we'll pick him up and do that. And the other days he's walking alone.
Oh, wow. That's so crazy. Okay, so with the kids, I know as an adult, and I saw this in one of your videos, you said as an adult, it's harder to make friends after,
Mhm.
say, 40. But I guess in
Yeah.
the US, we just always assume that when our kids go to school, we'll become friends with the parents of our kids, their parents.
Mhm.
How has that worked out for you
Mhm.
guys? And I said, I know you guys go to church and you've made friends there,
Yeah.
but how
Yeah.
is that?
So the Portuguese, they're really like kind people. They are like if you stop them on the street and ask them something, they'll respond. But I feel like to be like, "Hey, come over for lunch" or something, that's very rare. In the 2 years at the school, I only have like one mom who has like she's been in my home, I've been in her home. I feel relatively like we have a friendship, with her. All of my other friendships, birthday parties, they're big on birthday parties here. They'll kind of go all out. They'll rent like a space or they'll go to a fun park. So we've gone to many birthday parties as well. But as far as like being friends with the other moms, I cannot say that has happened. Only with that one person. From if it wasn't for our church, I would feel like really probably like alone here because I have so many rich friendships though from our house church, a casa, that I feel like fulfilled. I feel like I have friends here. We meet with people, we do stuff. But as far as school, no, no.
Wow, I think that's so hard because we're just so used to, people just accepting us and bringing us in and just making those connections. That's good. That's hard. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people need to know that, hey, when you get there, you might be by yourself, and you kind of have to make those friend groups, but it might not be with the Portuguese. Wow.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
They'll tell you that, like the Portuguese themselves, they'll tell you, like, yeah, like my Portuguese friend, she's like, I don't even see my friends that much. We're very like family oriented. We'll see our own families, but we're not like we kind of have high walls. Like it's not super easy to be our friend. And I've totally seen that. And I have
Mm.
nothing against, like I said, but I'm not like maybe even making like so much effort to be like, be my friend, like I'm not like that with the Portuguese. Try to be open at school. Like there'll be other parents picking up their kids, but they don't really like if I didn't speak to them, they wouldn't speak to me type thing.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. So I guess that goes into the expat community because so many people will say, well, expats, you kind of have to not keep to yourselves, but it's kind of hard not to when you're
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
you're trying to make friends. You don't want to be by yourself.
We have some really good Argentinian friends, and she was like raised in Canada too. So Argentina and Canada, they moved here 2 years ago and they're leaving because they said the culture is too hard for them.
Mm.
Their kids, they just struggled and they've really tried. Like with their kids, they're messaging the parents, can our daughters get together? And they just said like they don't get together. And I don't want my daughter to grow up, she's 13, without having friends. She's like, she's at such a crucial age that she's like, that is it. Like they're moving to Paraguay in August.
Wow. Wow.
And it's the weather and the closeness of the culture that's driving them away. So, and because they're Latins,
Yeah.
they're
And they're
like,
very, yes, friendly
um,
and loving.
mhm, mhm,
Wow, that's crazy. That was one of the things we were thinking about Spain, and we had heard from a couple
mhm.
of videos that people were like, "Oh, they're not very friend." Like sometimes they just keep to themselves, and we were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we want our kids to have friends and make those connections, and
Yeah.
not be by themselves because that would be so
hmm
hard for
I would
them."
say it's similar because we lived in Spain for 2 years, and a lot of our friends, we have Spanish friends, but again, from church, or a lot of them ended up being like Latins,
Okay.
the Latins ones that they're there too, and they're just more warm. Like we have a lot of Brazilian friends here because the
Wow.
Brazilians have that like warmth and the culture. So if you feel like you really want to have Spanish friends if you move to Spain, or Portuguese friends if you move to Portugal, I think it might be pressing in, trying to find like the right ones. Because, of course, there are amazing Spaniards and amazing Portuguese. Of course, they're out there, but it might take some time to find them.
Wow.
hmm
Okay. So, if one last thing, if someone's sitting at home and they're considering making this leap, what's one thing that you're like, you need to do this or know this first before you decide to just bring your whole family and make this jump?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a hard
I know
one.
that's hard.
I
Sorry.
think because I'm a Christian, I would say you want to have the peace of the Lord, like especially between you and your spouse. I mean, your kids, it's important for them too to be on board. I think if the whole family is on board, that's a big thing. And then just knowing that it's going to be amazing, but it's also going to have challenges. And if you're open to growth, and if you're open to, like I said, things being slow, things not going your way, I think it could be a beautiful adventure for your family. So don't be afraid. Don't let all of the challenges or like even the negative things I said stop you from trying something that you're feeling like you want to do. Because I think when we're pushed out of our comfort, when we go through these trials and struggles, it's when we really grow closer to God, and when we can find even like more of ourselves and who we are. So I think I think you should go for it. Yeah. I would tell people do it. Like an experience overseas, though messy, though hard, expensive, things happen. Like you can't have everything like perfect before going. Like just take the leap if you're feeling like that's what you're supposed to do, because life is short, It really is.
I just want to thank you. I think you confirmed one last thing for us because we keep saying, we keep having a conversation with each other, Jason and I, and we're like, we're just waiting on God. We're being patient. We're being patient. And you saying that is like, you know what? Okay, that's what we're supposed to do. We're waiting for him just to say this direction and not to be scared as
Yeah.
well to take that leap. So I thank you. And also that I need a dryer. I've been telling Jason if we move, I have to get a dryer because
And if it's a wet place, a dehumidifier really helps out a lot too.
yes. See, I've been
Yeah.
telling him that. I'm
Yeah.
like, when we visited last time, we tried to hang our clothes out and it was a mess. And then we ended up going to a laundromat and I was like, oh gosh.
Yes. Yep, the dryer. If you can do little things like that that will like help your life in a drastic way, like do it. Like these little things that like these little comforts, I think they're okay.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, Camille, it's been so great speaking with you. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram recently got banned. That used to be my biggest platform, and I totally lost it. I don't know if I'll get it back. My name on there was Camille Hansen, but you can find me on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Learn English with Camille. So that would be the place, I guess.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Well, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you for just helping us
You.
through this journey. And we are so excited. So
And if you guys have any more questions or anything you want to talk about, feel free to reach out anytime. I'd be happy.
thank you so much. Awesome. All right. Bye.
Yay.
Got me upside